on time. I appreciate having an audience in the room. Quick question before we start. Just want to get a show of hands. Who here is actually a publisher? Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to spend some time today trying to educate you a little bit about some things happening in mobile and how it can help you on retention and audience development. I want to start out with a quick question. Do you remember these? These are things that always fell out on the floor for magazines. Call them magazine subscription cards. You could call them home delivery cards. If you recall back in the day, if you were fortunate enough to get someone to fill one of those cards out, and you could manage your print costs, and you could manage your fulfillment costs, there were some really nice benefits of that customer, right? You built your circulation base. You probably also, through that distribution to their home, built your pass-along rate, and you probably also, therefore, really had a nice ad rate base to sell against. But I want to focus on another benefit of home delivery, and that is a big benefit, found time. So if you subscribe to Sassy or New York Magazine or Time Magazine, that mobile posse of publications came with you throughout the day and filled your found time through the day. You took it on the train and read it. You took it on your lunch break and read that media. You took it to the gym, read that media. You brought it to your nightstand and read that media. And you brought it to the toilet, where either you or your cute little daughter read a story about the Man of War, Secretary General. So you might be sitting there in the audience asking yourself, why are you talking about home delivery? Why are you talking about circulation cards? And why are you talking about all of these topics when the world has changed? Greg, that was then. This is now. I've got 80% of my users on the mobile device. I'm struggling because they're no longer using my publication in any form. They're coming to me through an intermediary. They're coming to me through Facebook. I've got to put my stuff on Facebook. They're coming to me via Snapchat. I have to put my content into Snapchat. Well, I want to tell you that in mobile, found time is still really key. That person that's coming to you through any of these social media programs is actually coming to you during found time. That person that's coming to you through Facebook is standing online at Starbucks trying to fill some found time, waiting for their double soy latte. That person coming to you through Snapchat is coming to you through found time when they're taking a break from coding at 7 o'clock at night. That person coming to you through any other intermediary might be coming to you as they sit down at breakfast with that omnipresent smartphone device in their pocket looking to fill their found time. So hopefully, in the next 25 minutes, I want to share with you some things that we've learned at Mobile Posse. Mobile Posse is a company that's worked with dozens of publishers and the nation's top carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, Metro PCS, helping them deliver their content to the new home door of the user, their mobile device. In talking to hundreds of publishers, I've been asked thousands of questions about the future of mobile and how the home screen is going to change things. And what I'd like to do in the remaining time is share my favorite 7 questions and the answers with you. By the time we're done here today, hopefully you'll know a little bit more about not only Mobile Posse, but how the mobile world is evolving, and you can take that back to your organizations. So let's start in with question number 1. All right, Greg, is the home screen really important? I want to understand why is this really important? I tend to answer that question in what I'll call the 3 twos. There's too much time being spent on the home screen for this not to be important for you. Does anyone in the audience know the stat that I'm showing on this board? This is a stat published, shockingly, only one time by Nielsen, that says that the #1 activity in mobile is looking for an activity on mobile. And what that actually means is, again, you're filling found time. You pull your phone out, you've got a dashboard of 80 apps, you're tapping and dancing and scrolling and topping and Facebook, boom, okay, done. You pop out of that, okay, I want to check my email. You're scrolling, where is that thing? I got to find it. Or I got a few more minutes on the subway, okay, I want to play Candy Crush. Like, where's it? I got to find it. You pull your phone out 200 times a day, not necessarily to do any one specific thing, but to do something. This sounds kind of like found time once again. So 26% of all time is being spent there, which means that ultimately they're going to be too much industry focus trying to solve that problem. So this chart here shows, going back several years, all of the massively capitalized companies, the smaller companies like Mobile Posse, Apple, Google, Yahoo, Aviate, all the major company announcements from 2008 to the first quarter of last year, when Yahoo bought the company Aviate that created a home and lock screen takeover. There's just too much industry focus happening here for this not to eventually impact you as a publisher. To think that mobile today is going to look like mobile tomorrow, and what you're doing today, next quarter, is going to be eventually the end game. We heard this yesterday, but I'll echo it again in another context. It's going to change. And the third two that I'll share with you is, because of all of the supply side of all of these new technologies, there's simply too much time using these technologies. So here's a chart that Flurry published last year, showing the total number of sessions of people that are using these alternate technologies that make delivery of content to the mobile device more intelligent, more convenient, and ultimately more useful for your user. So, are folks familiar with the expression WIFI? WIFI stands for what you want to get out of every presentation. It's the what is in it for you. So, what's the WIFI in terms of, is the home screen important to you as publishers in the audience? The answer is, it's going to impact all of you sooner or later in one way or the other, whether it's Apple's announcement and what they're doing with trying to eliminate kind of the home screen by taking all the feeds and making it more dynamic, whether it's going to be Google Now and searching. However it happens, it's going to impact you. If you are a leader, you'll take advantage of it sooner. If you're a laggard, you might get caught and snapped in the butt. Question number 2. All right, Greg, I'm a publisher. I saw a lot of interesting companies. I saw and I've read very interesting things, but what's in it for me? What can I do? What's my playbook as a publisher to take advantage of some of these technologies? As I said, there are many companies playing in this space, but typically when a publisher asks me, what can I do? I introduce them to Todd, to Linda, and to Blake. And I do that in a way that shows them that these new technologies can be done towards the goals of all publishers. Greg, I don't want any highfalutin, crazy new technology that's not going to be user-friendly. I want to be innovative, but I don't have time to implement things that aren't going to be effective. I want it to work, and if it's going to work, I need it to be something that my team can implement now. Enter Todd. Todd is from Minnesota, hated the weather, went to California, lives in Los Angeles, loves the LA Kings, uses the #1 sports blog app in Los Angeles called Mayor's Manor, which happens to have home screen delivery built into it. So here we see Todd sitting down for his breakfast somewhere around 9 o'clock. He opens up his phone and wow, delivered right there on the home screen, on top of his home screen, is the Mayor's Manor web experience, where he can engage completely, scroll, tap, read the latest news on how the LA Kings at this point were unlikely to do very well in the Stanley Cup Finals. And without having to tap, without having to dance, how did we fill Todd's found time? Did Todd pick up his phone, flip through to find something to do? No, Todd was delivered the content that he likes. This particular implementation is a very easy one. It goes back to the magazine subscription card where I say I want the newspaper delivered to me every day. Todd set that delivery to show up on his phone not live on his phone. He doesn't want his phone to not be a phone, but he wants the content he wants brought to him intelligently. So it was made available to him. He engaged with it, and it went away, similar to how you might have taken the New York Times Magazine with you on the train, read it, and tossed it aside. I'd like to introduce you to Linda. Linda lives in New York. Linda likes the New York Daily News. More than the New York Daily News, Linda loves Starbucks. For all of us that love Starbucks, we know we must love standing because we do it a lot as we stand online. You cannot walk into a Starbucks without standing online. Linda, and we do not work with this next client, but we're in New York, so I thought I'd show you this example. Linda has set her New York Daily News app to render that content for her when she's online at Starbucks because she knows she's there several times a day. So now she walks into Starbucks, coffee's being made. While this is happening, transparently, the content that she knows and loves and would like to read while she's at Starbucks is brought to the top of her device. So that when she turns it on, for the third time, obviously at 17:46, so 5:46, she's still drinking coffee, but she has available the content that she wants. She happens to be a big fan of Prince Henry, so Prince Harry, without having to go and look and find it, she can find the latest news about Prince Harry leaving the armed forces and going back to and becoming more royalty. So what have we done here? We filled her found time that otherwise might have gone off to Facebook. Your content, the New York Daily News content, might have been disintermediated, and she might have gone off to one of their competitors. So again, we filled found time with a more intelligent way of producing the content that somebody wants directly to the home screen of their device. And there are lots of ways to do this. Mobile Posse is one of them, and I'm not selling you a Mobile Posse, but what you're seeing on the screen now are Mobile Posse experiences. The last person I'll introduce you to is Blake. Blake also happens to be a hockey fan, but more importantly, he's a pet lover like most of us in this room. So Blake really cares about things that are socially hot. And when there's something socially hot, if it's about hockey, if it's about pets, then all the better. And if it's about hockey and pets, then when I take a break from coding, I'd really love to see that type of content. So here he is leaning back, taking a break from coding, and there's BuzzFeed, the goalie playing Dotson Dog. What else would my friend Blake want to see than that viral video content? So again, I've tried to show 3 different examples of using different types of intelligence to deliver content directly to a user during their found time that helps a publisher gain back the audience that would otherwise be disintermediated by the found time that's filled by what's called a smartphone. So the Wi-Fi, what's in it for you as a publisher? You get to choose. There are multiple vendors out there. I've talked to many that want to build it themselves, but the solution here is to create a solution that delivers the content that someone wants on their terms, on their time, and reap the benefits. Which, of course, leads us to the next question, question number 3. All right, Greg, I get it. You know, Todd, Linda, Blake, I enjoyed the experiences. I see how that can work, but it seems like I just want to make sure that going back to what I care about as a publisher, is this user-friendly? Do people really like this? And I have a bunch of engineers doing a ton of work, and I want to know, should I prioritize this type of experience other than changing out and moving to native ad units? Because I've got 5 dev engineers, and I need to prioritize what they do. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about how well does it work, and do people want it? So there are lots of ways to answer it. I'm going to show you some case studies, but as we developed the product, we did a lot of research. And we used the research company. They went out and they found a bunch of media junkies. We surveyed 3,000 people on smartphones and asked them a bunch of questions. We found 300 people that love to use their mobile phones for media, for consuming entertainment content in this particular case. And we showed them 2 experiences. There's the device on the left, which is the typical experience. I'm subscribing to People Magazine, or I have the People Magazine app. There's an update from People Magazine. I typically get that, as shown here, through the Android tray. And if you look really closely, 4 or 5 down, you'll see an update from People Magazine saying, hey, check out our latest news. That's the typical experience on Android you see every day. Contrast that with that same audience of media fans and giving them this experience. You wake up your phone, and the content you want is right there, fully interactive, videos, text, image galleries, and you ask them which is better on a scale of 1 to 5, and the one on the right is 138% better rated. All right, so fine, Greg, okay, it's surveys, whatever. What else can you tell me that shows you that people actually want this experience? This is, I think, the only eye test I have here, and I don't want to really spend too much time on it, but another bit of research we did was to find daily users in almost all app categories. These are the ones that are making the most important customers, the customers you don't want to lose, and ask them about an experience that I just shared with you. And you can see just from the numbers, it shows that people are very interested in a better way of consuming the experience, whether it's retail or publishing or commerce or news, it doesn't really matter. People are looking for improved scenarios. But I think ultimately, I answer the question with a case study. Does it really work, Greg? So what I want to show you here is another one of our customers and how they implemented the concept of daily delivery within their application. Once the update was done, the user would download the app and they would open the app and they'd go through a series of screens. And those new screens tell the user, hey, this application has a new service where our content can be brought directly to you without you having to open up the app. Here's kind of how it works. And you see a few screens that show the content's going to be brought directly under your lock screen. And you eventually get to a screen where you can opt in and you can set your time. Right? So the first question you might have is, do people actually opt in? And the answer is yes. You know, there's nothing in technology that's going to work for everybody, but if you get 40% of your people opting into something new, you've done a pretty good job. Right? So the next question is, all right, what happens after they've actually opted in? So the first stat I'll say is very interesting. So after 30 days, giving someone the ability to consume your media in found time on the home screen, the amount of media that that individual consumes through that home screen actually surpasses the amount of media from your brand they would consume in any other channel. So you give them something conveniently, they're going to move to consuming it at that place and time. A very interesting statistic, almost as interesting as the next one, which shows that once that technology, that home screen, that home delivery technology was deployed, it increased the total amount of consumption by 50%. The third stat I'll speak to is the loyalists, the heavy-duty users, which is what we care about the most. And by implementing a technology that delivers the content conveniently at found time, it 5x the amount of people that were consuming the content between 5 and 10 times a month. And finally, everyone talks about apps and app retention being very challenging. The technology resulted in a 3.5x lift in, I believe it was 6 weeks, 6-week retention. So again, it's all about convenience. We are creatures of habit. We are lazy fundamentally. We would like to have things done so that makes it very simple for us, and the technologies of the home screen make that easy. So the Wi-Fi, what's in it for you in terms of does it work and do consumers like it? Like if you don't care about mobile, if your audience is not on mobile, if you're not interested in re-engagement with your users, if you're not interested in keeping them, then none of the above really matters. But for most of the publishers, most of those that raised their hand earlier, these are very important issues. So we should put those types of technologies on your table to think about integrating at some point. The number one goal for a publisher, besides creating great editorial content, is to figure out a way how to monetize it. I spoke at the Digiday Publishing Conference where actually I met Scott. And one of the interesting things that they did, is anyone else out at the Digiday Publishing Summit in Vail? No one else got a chance to go skiing on the boondoggle? Well, they did a very interesting thing. They had little notepads on everybody's table. And the MC of the event said, please write down your #1 challenge in digital publishing today. And then they put them all up on a big board. And the number one challenge for technology partners and the number one challenge for publishers. I went over and took a picture of the publisher board because the things written on the notepads were monetizing mobile, figuring out how to make money on mobile. Mobile, mobile, mobile. I'm afraid of mobile. How do I monetize mobile? So when we talk about the home screen as a potential solution to help publishers, eventually the question comes down to, hey, Greg, do ads work there? So to answer that question, I go back to the research we've done. And you recall the side-by-side tests before where we found a bunch of people that you're currently making money from, your media junkies, your loyalists. And in the first test, we showed them side-by-side a typical notifications and a home screen card delivery. We also had a third audience where rather than opening up and seeing the device on the left that had no advertising, there was another experience, a third experience that showed the home screen opening up with 320 by 50 at the bottom. Now I know 320 by 50s are not really the ad du jour, but it's the easiest one to show to someone. So we showed them this side by side. We had those three population groups, and we said, is there a difference? There's no difference. There's no difference between delivering a great piece of content with a non-annoying mobile ad experience and showing it without it. So the takeaway here, I'm sorry, there's one more thing I'd like to talk about. So we also have a partner, one of our own partners that distributes tons of news on the mobile home screen. You're seeing their home card right here. You'll maybe notice two below Obama where it says sponsored content. So they're monetizing their home screen card by, they're monetizing their home screen card by bringing in a piece of Taboola content. And that's how they make money. And that little piece of Taboola content is getting anywhere from 1% to 2% click. And they're probably driving 200 million views of that. So it's a very large mobile partner for Taboola and a very nice revenue stream for this partner. So what's the takeaway? Can you actually monetize and make money by delivering content to the home screen of the device with advertising? Absolutely. But again, in talking to hundreds of publishers, I see some horrible, horrible mobile ad experiences within an app, within the website. And if you take a horrible experience and bring it to the mobile home screen, you'll get horrible results. But I've also seen fabulous interstitials, and all of those can be brought to the home screen device. So not only do you get better retention, but you also get better monetization. Number 5. This is a question I've been getting more and more and more often. Greg, okay, I get it, but can you help me on audience development? And certainly with Mobile Posse you can. So here's Acme Publishing. They produce content in orange. They've implemented our technology, so their users are receiving home screen cards with their content. But there's also 2 million daily active users of other people that are getting this content delivered to them on their home screen. Sports, gossip, news, and Acme's content can participate in those 2 million daily active users that are consuming other media types. So yes, the Wi-Fi for audience development with Mobile Posse solution, there's absolutely an opportunity for the right brands. Is my brand right for this type of experience? For the publishers that raised their hand earlier, if you are younger, mobile, Android, social, produce a lot of content, absolutely the answer is there's an opportunity for audience development with our solution to extend not only better engagement, but extend your distribution through a new set of users. Finally, number 7. Number 7 is actually not a question. I did pass that part of my English. I was an engineer at one point, but I do know that that's not a question. It's really a statement, but I hear it a lot. We're too busy to test this, Greg, and to that, I'm sure all vendors would say the same thing. The most important thing in this day and age is you have to be nimble. You have to be able to test very quickly because things change so fast. You need to take advantage of them. I will say that with Mobile Posse, you can work with us in 3 ways. If you do not have a mobile app, we have a partner that can build you a free mobile app. If you have an app, we have an SDK that can be integrated in very, very easily. And of course, you have an option to do it yourself and build your own home screen solution. I've heard that from several partners these days trying to take advantage of it. I would say you're probably not choosing the right path that way. With us, there's a very easy way to test and roll out home screen solutions. You can set up within a week, and you can be rolled out and launched within 7 or 8 weeks. Simple is easy. So just to wrap it up, what do we talk about? The 7 questions I most hear and their answers. Importance, do it now. How do you want to work it? You pick it. If you have any questions about how well it works, go to Google, search on the terms Mobile Posse space Arbitron, and you'll see a very interesting in-depth case study. Do ads work? Absolutely, but keep it real. Does audience development work with home and lock screen? I can't tell you about other partners, but with Mobile Posse, there's certainly an opportunity. Is it right for you? You tell me. You be the judge. If you're young and urban, the younger your audience, the more often this is used. In testing, just keep it simple. Hopefully, after the last 20 minutes, you've learned a bit more about the technologies we believe are going to change literally the face of mobile. If you have any more questions, I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards. Happy to address any of the questions via email. Hit me in LinkedIn, Greg Wester at Mobile Posse. Thank you very much. Scott, did you want to do any questions, or are we out of time? Thank you, everyone.